polka dance conferences around Ohio and Pennsylvania. Real hotbed for polka, Ohio and Pennsylvania is. And they took me and my sister once to a polka dance. And I remember pigging out on pierogies and large sausages, which I would get an affinity for later as well. Big joke. And watching the women dance in large, bulbous, brightly colored dresses and the men wearing matching vests. And my grandmother took me out on the dance floor with my sister, and that song played. And she taught us the chicken dance. Beaks, wings, tail feathers. And believe it or not, that would affect me for the rest of my life. My grandmother was affectionately known as the Chicken Lady, not just because of that dance, but she also collected chicken knickknacks of all shapes and sizes. No Christmas or birthday or trip to Acapulco could go by without bringing her home a ceramic chicken, or a chicken statuette, or a rooster hand towel, or baby powder that smelled like chicken shit. We had it all. She even had a wooden china cabinet full of her treasures, and engraved on it was Peggy's Hen House. The wallpaper had chickens on it. The bathroom toilet seat covers had chickens on it. There was a cock in every room, and it was just my grandfather that lived there. She was full of wisdom, because she didn't have a filter. One of my favorite things that she ever did is, my little brother was born and my parents wanted him to be unique. And so they gave him the middle name Wolfgang. Like Mozart or Puck, you know. And my grandmother, whenever we'd go out shopping and she would have him in a stroller, she would literally roll up to perfect strangers and go, "He's cute, huh? His middle name is Wolfgang. Can you believe his parents named him that? He's gonna get the shit kicked out of him when he gets to school." And that's not the only thing she would say. When I was younger, my sister and I would, like most children, hate going out in the rain. We would throw a fit. And a lot of sweet grandparents would be like, "Oh, sugar, I know you're afraid you'll melt in the rain." My grandmother would say, "You ain't made of sugar and shit don't melt in the rain, Christopher. Get your ass out of there." Asa? When I was 5 or 6, my mother was a single mother, and even when she wasn't single, she was a single mother. And she worked 8 to 10 hour days at the local children's hospital in the emergency dental department. You think your job is like pulling teeth, hers actually was. Dentist joke. I get it. I say one non-dick joke, and you guys are like, boring. Well, let me get to the root canal of the story. Another dentist joke. So, during the summer, when we weren't in school, we had to go someplace. So my grandmother would take us in, and during the day, starting at 5 or 6 in the morning, we'd be there until dinner time. And she would do many things to try to entertain us. She would sit us down at the dinner table and have a black and white television with the Price is Right on, and we'd eat lunch in front of it. I explored my earliest roots of drag performing, dressing up in her clothes. Of course, most of them had chicken prints. And I've been luring cock ever since, another chicken joke. And I learned so much from her, a sense of adventure, a sense of wondering, but I also learned how fucking gullible I was. Because my grandmother had one thing she would do to keep me and my sister entertained for hours on end. She had convinced my sister and I that if you sprinkle salt on the tail feathers of a bird, that it would freeze so you could capture it and make it your pet. She would give my sister and I both a salt shaker, and we would spend 2 to 4 hours running around the backyard trying to sneak up on fucking birds and dousing them with salt. 1, we looked like fucking idiots. 2, there's a lot of birds that were literally assaulted in Ohio. Thank you. And 3, it was one of my favorite memories growing up. She would do little things like that all the time. Maybe jokes like tell us that like we're eating squirrel instead of roast beef, or she would call me Pedro, and when I asked her why, she said it's Spanish for long-haired boy, and at the time I had a ponytail. It wasn't until I was in high school I figured out it's just fucking Spanish for Peter. But she would do sweet things too, like I wasn't a big cake person, so for my birthday every year she'd make me cherry pie from scratch, and she'd poke my age in the top crust to let the vents happen. She would take me shopping, and even though I was going through my gothy punk stage, she would gladly buy me my bright orange camo pants and not complain once. She passed about 1.5 years ago, and it was utterly devastating. She was my best friend outside of my wife. I talked to her constantly, to the point where she didn't realize it was me anymore. And based on the advice of everybody around me, my mother included, it was just better for me not to confuse her. So a month went by without any conversation, and she passed in her sleep very peacefully. And it was tough. We all were devastated, and we all wanted another memory, but there wasn't any there anymore, you know? So we did what any good respecting people do. We raided her fucking house to get something. Whatever we could fucking grab. My mom literally grabbed her crock pot as a memory, amongst many other household items, and cried when she had to throw it away because it stopped working. My sisters both got pieces of jewelry, of course. I got a bunch of chicken statues, per my request, and they adorn my dresser, so I see them every morning, first thing I see. My little brother, though, he was 17 when she passed, and he's probably the smartest, because I wasn't the only victim of the salt scam. Him and my little sister were too. They were 15 years apart from me and my other sister. So a whole generation of chasing fucking birds. And the thing he grabbed was a chicken-shaped salt shaker. He hasn't caught any birds yet, but he caught a memory of a chicken lady. And I think we should all make a memory. So I'm gonna have everybody stand up right now. We're gonna do the chicken dance together. I'll start it out slow. I hear a lot of people going, oh boy. It's for my fucking dead grandma. Okay? Hey there, 00 shirt. I'm not fucking blind. Stand up for my dead grandma. Alright? For fuck's sake. Alright, we're gonna start it out slow, and then we'll speed it up from there. Asa? and gentlemen, give it up for Dolly Pardon! Oh my God. Still fucking horrible, but getting better. She's getting better. I'm real proud of her. Real proud of her. Really look it up, kid. You might have a career in waiting tables. Okay.